Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Satish Ram, who's sorry that we don't have stunning visual effects to accompany with the same theme song of Season 1, but hey, you have us.
My thumb is up. No one can see that because radio.
We saw the new. Okay, I'm not crazy, right? This was a new video package for the theme song.
Yes, I completely noticed that. I was not writing notes during the time the video came up. Yes, it is new. Actually, if anyone wants to call in and refute that with us or agree with us, the number to call in is 718-664-9468. Yes, you can call in because we are live. Also, Satish, what else can they do with our call-in number?
Yeah, as always, the call-in number is available for you, 718-664-9468. And if you'd like to just listen to us through that means in terms of using your phone, your internet might be busy using Netflix, watching or streaming the episode that we're going to be talking about, the two of them, you could just call into that number and listen to us. And if you don't hit the one button, we won't force you on the show to talk to us.
Yeah, we will not. So,
but if you do hit the one button, you...
Right, yes. So definitely do that, or not, whichever.
You're going to be forced onto the show.
Yeah. So what did you think about the first episode?
Hit the one button.
Don't accidentally hit the one button.
No.
But anyway, what did you think about the first episode?
Right, okay, so this is one thing that I was going to allude to when we were talking about it just a few minutes ago. But so you look at Black Dynamite as, you know, not even in reference to the blaxploitation movie, but just as a series on its own. And you then can also look, on the other hand, at things like the Boondocks, which is the thing that comes to mind very quickly, right? And one of the things that I took away from the first season of Black Dynamite, which, again, this isn't a bad thing that I've said to you, but it was more oriented towards, like, comedy and just, like, sheer ridiculousness, over the top, just humor and situations, compared to the Boondocks, which at times felt a bit more grounded and more focused on social commentary and just, like, you know, satirizing history and the way people act and all that. I mean, specifically, those of us with color, but... you know, that's what it was. So seeing the season open up with what they did here really reminded me of the Boondocks. And that was actually good for me. It was kind of refreshing because it's not like the comedy didn't hit for me in Season 1. I thought it was hilarious.
Right.
You and I used to sit here and talk about it and be like, God, this is great. We were going to watch it anyway. But it was a nice touch to sit there and look at this and be like, there are a lot of well-founded underlying themes in this episode, and it felt like early Boondocks to me, and I think that was kind of cool.
This, while I have not watched much Boondocks, I really enjoyed this episode because, as you mentioned, the social commentary, and it really stuck out, you know, and of course season openers and season enders are supposed to stick out, but it just really, you know, stuck out. Like, it really popped out for me, and I really think it's just a nice episode to have as your season opener because it's really hard-hitting, and you sit there and you think, wow, you know, this is a great plot for an episode. Something that I think a lot of people might actually talk about, you know, and also using a lot of things that a lot of people, you know, believe, where the Al Sharpton thing, where it's just no matter, you know, when you find Al Sharpton, you will find money.
Yeah, that was the thing that kind of made me laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
And also on top of it, Black Dynamite was a more human character in this episode. And in
the second one as well.
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't know if I love that or hate that yet. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, and I'll you know, give it some time to see what happens here. But, you know, we look at Black Dynamite as this, like, superhero-type person who has exceeded the limits of human capacity in, like, the first season, where he is just far beyond anyone else who comes in his way. So, yeah, you look at what happens in this episode, and I really liked his character in terms of him being more philosophical, and it confused me for a bit, though, because it's not what I expect from him. Well, I don't expect him to, again, referencing the Boondocks, I don't expect him to pull the Huey Freeman thing and just sit there and be like, you know, while I must admit that I enjoy seeing the white folks enslaved, I realized it wasn't a good thing. And I'm like, this is cool, and I get why it works, but him being human is something that I think is worth watching and worth noting, because it can give us more of an appreciation for the series, but I don't know if it'll take away some of the charm it has, for me, For me, at least, specifically, you know?
Right. I think it's enjoyable because, I mean, there's still a bunch of I don't want to say nonsensical, but I mean, he is kind of, how is it? He was only rational when you had someone like Al Sharpton there. Where I think Black Dynamite could have went with them or could have at least went with the idea, but then when Al Sharpton comes and then just says, yes, this is exactly what we should do, let's not even think, let's all do this. And it's just, Black Dynamite sits there and goes, listen, well, that would be a nice thought. What are we doing here? And you see Orphan, I want to say it was Orphan Annie, but I'm definitely wrong
Penny?
there. Penny, thank you. Orphan Penny, and just violently shaking her. Because he saw what was happening, and even then he was still kind of with them in a way. He was a bit off, but it was a bit off for him, but he was still with them until he saw Orphan Penny whipping Timmy.
Yeah,
and saying, no, your name is Kunta.
Yeah, Kunta, I think. And I laughed.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, okay, not that they would have taken it away, but, the season had the stuff from the movie that was still completely over the freaking top. Where,
right.
like the whole idea of a orphanage is, and it's like, they're not going to stray away from the orphanage or the fact that the Black Dynamite will refer to women as bitches and things like that, where it's like it would, I understand that there are going to be people sitting there and saying, even in jokes, that you shouldn't be referring to women as bitches. And I understand the thought process behind that, but it takes away from what the character represents and what he is put off as.
And the time period as well.
That's another thing, where we talk about this a lot in terms of creating accurate characters. Like, let's say you go back to, like, the 1920s and 1930s. If somebody existed then as a white male with money, it is not inherently wrong to have them be portrayed as a racist or a sexist.
Right. I mean, yeah, things like Huckleberry Finn and books and all the stuff that was, taken from that time. I mean, you even look at something like Tom and Jerry that has a character, the maid who is a very, quote-unquote, stereotypical black maid. When they released that onto DVD, they actually had Whoopi Goldberg on beforehand in these little, like, vignettes basically saying, hey, I understand. I get it.
Really?
But, yes, but with the time period and, with what was going on, if we change it, because it's changed, I believe most of the time, the black maid is changed for television, even to this day, depending, I think. But most of the time.
Definitely. For movies,
but showing them on DVD, she was there. Just say, hey, listen, I know how it looks like. I know what it is. I know what it was. It was racism. But when looking back at it, we can't just erase our history. Yeah,
and it's funny because it also reminded me of the whole idea of, and this is more satirical, the stuff that was brought up in the first episode where the blacks were kidnapping the whites, and it was just a matter of like, but I like good times, temporary layoffs. And just jokes like that were, these little comments in the background that made me laugh of like, I have black friends and stuff like that made me kind of chuckle, where I was like, yeah, I get that. And it just makes me kind of laugh because swinging the back where it's like, but, yeah, I mean, it's important to consider every situation differently. And Black Dynamite, you and I can talk about that without being inherently racist or sexist, I would say.
Well, yeah. I mean, most people can, in the sense that, and this episode itself really, I just enjoyed what it did a lot, in the sense that it was able to go this way and to do this, and then also, have certain parts of it be funny, where you see Al Sharpton, and not only was it all for the money, but just ruining something. You know what I mean? Just, he always gets flack for just coming in and then making it a bit more extreme. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, to your earlier point, you were contesting to me that Black Dynamite seemed rational because he was standing in contrast to Al Sharpton. Yeah, at least the Al Sharpton in the episode. And I'll give you that, because thinking about how ridiculous the Al Sharpton character was in this episode, in terms of him being money hungry and exploiting anyone around him, I can then understand, what you're saying in terms of Black Dynamite, in comparison, it is just a man of justice and righteousness.
I love what I enjoy is not even exploiting to the point where it's just, I will exploit the black people. He eventually went with the white people.
Mm-hmm.
That
Which is what
was
proves
brilliant.
Your point further. I think.
That
Just
was
the fact that
brilliant.
He will go where, and I don't know if I believe that about the actual Al Sharpton. I'll be fair.
I wouldn't say that he would go wherever, but here's the thing. I wouldn't argue money is it, but what I have seen and what I have noticed just from barely looking into it. So, very sorry if I seem uneducated on the topic, but he will go where the publicity is. From what I hear. Not necessarily money, but publicity, being in the light and then being able to talk about the issues. And then sometimes, from what some people say, maybe taking the issue in the wrong direction too soon.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing, and I did kind of chuckle a little bit at when he was speaking for the white movement, where he was basically under the impression like, hey, you reparations, and the only color I need right now is green, and just talking about that, and I was like, that might be somewhat accurate, just over dramatized for the sake of comedy,
right.
But like,
yes.
So I get it, it just like I'm not. It's weird because some shows have the liberty to parody characters like this. And so, we know it's one thing when you create a character like Thick James, who is like a straight mockery of Rick James, but not directly Rick James. Right. Or, in comparison, we have the direct or Leroy Van Noose, who is voiced by Snoop Dogg, and then, a parody of, every pimp. But,
right.
So with Al Sharpton, it's different because how do you parody someone? And they do this in the first season too, which is how do you parody someone by mentioning the stuff that people will notice, but also making it clear that this is not exactly who they are. Like when you look at O.J. Simpson in the first season, first season, which is the first episode I watched of the show, and it still makes me kind of laugh a little bit. Just O.J. Simpson worshiping the white man and doing everything for him. It was amusing because it lays somewhere, a good parody lays between reality and fiction. So Al Sharpton, I think I'm about similarly educated about Al Sharpton as you are. So
right.
I feel the same way where we can sit there and be like, yeah, that might be right, that might be accurate, but we both know he's not going to drastically switch to the white struggle. So
yes, no, not like Richard Nixon, who apparently is just completely evil. No matter, I feel like becomes more and more evil.
Every single freaking depiction of Richard Nixon is always just. He's evil here. I'm just working off the top of my head. He's evil here. He's evil in Futurama. In the Boondocks, Huey's obsessed with saying that he's the devil. He's like, Richard Nixon, and just Ronald Reagan. Oh no, Ronald Reagan's the devil there. But it's just Tricky Dick. I just, God help me, but I always feel bad that the man is a permanent representation of white evil, and it's become kind of a funny theme. I actually
give it some time.
Lie.
It'll be George Bush. Give it some time.
You think so though? Do you think
it'll be Bush in a different way though? Where for us it's for us I think it's surprising, but for him I think it'll be some kind of my evil plan came together.
For Nixon, I like because Nixon was. I didn't agree with a lot of stuff Nixon did, but he was intelligent. He seemed to have his plan in place. It just didn't favor people.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that a bit later for episode 2. Right now,
right when we get to Nixon's plan.
Right. Focusing on episode 1, I'm surprised we still haven't talked about my favorite part or my favorite parts of the episode. The fact that we had Woody Allen.
Not only did we have Woody Allen, we had Black Dynamite as a fan of Woody Allen.
Yeah, that was just great. That was just...
I love the switch from just the complete sweet character to Woody Allen. I love you, Woody Allen. I'm fuck. It was
it's just great. It's where he picks the one movie. He's yes, thank you, and immediately just choking him out. It's I can't breathe.
I loved that whole thing. Yeah, you go now, Woody. I can't breathe. Nah, that's not what you said. I was God damn it, that was a good line.
Oh, man, but no. At first, I thought it was going to be a one-off Annie Hall reference, which strangely became a porn. But I thought it was going to be just a one-off Annie Hall reference. And then they enslaved Woody Allen, who they repeatedly called this pedophilic-looking motherfucker.
Yeah, that was definitely a direct little shot.
Oh
And I
man, that was an
I
OJ moment.
Yeah, like I kind of snickered a little bit, where it was definitely like a not directly true, but lying somewhere between fiction and reality is this parody of a character.
I love Woody Allen, in his movies and in this cartoon. Woody Allen is great for everything he's done in his movies and in this cartoon.
You sound like you were paid to say that. But
only in his movies and in this cartoon.
But you can't enslave Woody Allen. He already works for Hollywood.
Yeah, apparently. I'm already a slave to Hollywood. It was just, and also, by the way, I know we mentioned it before, but I really want to put it out there. Black Dynamite fought for white equality.
Yeah, it was fun when that was pointed out directly. But
yeah.
I like that was one of those parts of the episode where you're just like, man, that's cool. Because not to say that Black Dynamite should be fighting for white justice or, I don't know, but
one justice over the other. But still,
yeah.
It's kind of nice. It's nice to, I don't know, it's an interesting way to see that he's not just he's not just an extremist. I mean, of course he can still, but of course he can, it's funny in a way because most of the time, though, when he sounds extreme, it's over things that are legitimately happening, like Richard Nixon. And and all this other stuff. It's not like all of it is just conspiracies, So it's not as if black people are being painted horribly, but I think this episode did a really nice job of showing that, hey, it's not as if they're trying to say that one side is better or perfect compared to the other. It could just be a humanity type situation.
Yeah, and I mean, with these kind of shows, I mean, there is a general mockery of, Caucasian, the white race, and it's interesting because
wait, they were mocked? I mean, whites were enslaved for a whole month.
That's exactly the scene I was thinking of. Where we were enslaved for a whole month. We can't recover from this psychological damage. And for a second, I became like a mark and bit.
Yes.
And I was just like, you were enslaved for a month. Damn it. I was like, remember,
man.
This is, and it was funny because, like, I will admit when certain lines are just the way things are built up will get me to bite. Where we can identify bait. Not saying that we are geniuses or anything, but we can sit there and identify lines that are bait and kind of chuckle at them.
Professional wrestling did that for us. Professional wrestling did that for us.
Yeah, probably, because, we grew up listening to heels, and you sit there thinking to, like, yourself, does he really mean that, or is he just saying that? And as you get older, it's like, yeah, he's just saying that. But, and then you get a little bit older, and then you sit there and think, he might be making sense. And the children are like, no! But, yeah, you look at something like that, and it kind of baited me for a second. It got me where I was like, fuck, dudes, but... Yeah, so the white race is always, like, parodied in these. And there's always a discussion of, like, what goes too far? Have we had enough of this? Have we exploited white guilt enough? And it's funny because within the same episode, like, if you have that question, have we exploited, like, this whole white guilt thing enough? There is also mention of, like, how horrid slavery is. So it's kind of trying to answer its own question where it's like, do you think we go too far? Because according to this TV guide, that's actually not an accurate portrayal of slavery. Slavery was actually much, much worse. And I kind of laughed because I'm like, yeah, it was.
I think the best thing in the world was when he asked, well, we don't even know if it's based on a true story. So let's check in the in the guide. Yeah. Oh man, it was. And then by the way, just before we move on, I want to mention, they quoted Planet of the Apes in the worst way possible.
Go for it.
You don't remember that line? They threw a white woman onto the truck and she said, "Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape."
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Because I knew that line was a reference to something, but I didn't know.
Planet of the Apes. When Charlton Heston was being brought into the courtroom and he just goes, "Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape." Yeah, that scene. Yeah.
That brings back a moment now, actually.
A moment, you say?
No. I remember the moment you're referencing now.
Ah, well then. Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
That's terrible.
So anyway, but overall, great episode. Great opener. It could have been an opener or, the ending to the season, but still great, powerful punch to pack into the first episode of the second season of Black Dynamite that we never even knew was coming. Like, personally, I did not even know if it was ever going to be a thing.
Yeah,
I was worried.
You were the one where I had my little breakdown. We're never going to get a second season. You're like, we are going to get one. And then for so long it didn't happen that I could have just sat there and been like, I think we were both right.
Yeah, no, I remember it being announced, like, we're going to get one. When? Unsure at this time. And then all of a sudden I'm just checking my TV guide just to see what the TiVo, because I recently got the ability to TiVo. And it's actually very godlike in its power. So I'm looking for things to TiVo, and it's just, oh, hey, Black Dynamite is on, on Adult Swim before Toonami on Saturdays. Well, this must be them re-airing old Black Dynamite, because even old Black Dynamite is still good enough to lead in to Toonami. I check. It says the word new in the description.
Right.
I was very confused at that word. New? Is it French? Did they change new and old? What are we doing here? And new Black Dynamite.
Like that line from the internet. You keep using that word. I do not think you know what that word means.
Yes.
New?
I was just sitting there.
New on demand?
Yeah, exactly. Because this is airing live, so I don't know. Yeah, it was just very confusing, and then I figured out that, no, that is new Black Dynamite. We have new Black Dynamite. Thank you, everyone involved with Black Dynamite. I'm smiling. You can't tell.
Thank you, Black Dynamite.
Yeah. But anyway, so overall, what would you give this episode, from a 1 to 5 rating?
I mean, I'm pretty tough with my 5s, but in terms of everything, it was solid. The writing was good. I mean, we didn't even go on and just talk about like the direct references to slavery and just the whole idea of the white people singing slave songs.
I can't believe I forgot to put that in the notes. That was
But they can't say the N-word, which killed me.
They can't say the N-word.
We can't say the N-word. And also the whole idea of, Little Orphan Penny, like just turning to power, like not only turning to power, but just the abuse of power. And the whole idea of, no, you're going to be called Kunta. So there's just so much.
Turning to it. When originally she was just playing nicely. And she even brought up Martin Luther King in his dream.
Yeah,
which I think was fabulous.
Oh my God, in the beginning I was just so confused. Like his shitty dream. And just and then Sweet Throat getting mad. It's like, don't you understand, Art? His big balls are a symbol. And I was like, they're a metaphor. I just kind of laughed because I was like, this is a parody of reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, so there was a lot of underlying stuff in this episode that actually resonated with me, where I sat there and I was like, all right, yeah, I can roll with this. And I like what they were getting at. And I don't know, I mean, it's definitely like a 4.5-ish for me, because my 5s are really, really, really hard. But
I will say 5, if only because of everything they gave into the episode, and even the things that where I think the Annie Hall and just the Woody Allen also made it for me, where his jokes were a nice way of at least bringing some light into an episode that could have been even darker and very kind of just could have just made people feel even more uncomfortable. Where Woody Allen was a big help, was just, his idea of just, I gotta get back home. I gotta get back to Hollywood, as if that's just, because you just hear where everyone talks about, back in slavery, it's like, oh, I have to get home, and you think, oh man, they were taken from, from Africa and then brought here. It's just they were taken from Hollywood and just dropped, and you just sit there and you think, and you're just like, that is their promised land. Hollywood.
And they need to be pampered to work.
Yes, they need to be pampered, which then brought up a wonderful, a wonderful thought. I really just, you sit there and you think, wait a minute. who is working for who? Who is helping who here?
And of course, the base head, being a former political scientist, kind of made me smile.
Yes.
Because I thought that was another little, like, just subtle joke where it was like, yeah, all of these shrug heads used to be successful. So there was a lot of stuff in this episode that I really, really appreciated. And all in all, it was definitely one of the better episodes for me.
It was. I mean, there was just a lot in this episode, and you know, the reason why I want to cut it short and move to 2 is because we can give it all the time in the world, and I don't want to give 2 very little time. Because it had its moments as well.
Yeah, no, 2 was, I felt 2 was more comedy aimed, of course.
Yes,
but
yes.
I didn't dislike it at all.
You know, I felt like there was a lull period after Samuel L. Jackson appeared. Maybe that's just me.
Really?
I don't know. Something about right after he appeared, it was very fun seeing him, but it kind of dragged on for me, and then up until it really picked up with, you know, the idea of just, then he was eaten, and then it's just, remember Black Dynamite?
Oh,
thrust hard.
Okay, that's
thrust
fine.
Hard.
Because the scene where he started thrusting the sea, absolutely, I lost it.
That's what I'm saying. Once thrust hard came up,
completely.
It was perfect.
I can understand the criticism. Yeah, I mean, you know, in also this one wasn't as much social commentary outside of like, hey, Richard Nixon's the devil. So, you know, it's a step back to the kind of humor we expect from
or the
Black
robot.
Dynamite. Yeah.
You know, racist.
Oh, in the beginning, dude. Just the Kool-Aid is causing cancer. This is confirmed. Just why do we have confirmation on something causing cancer that we created to cause cancer?
Yeah, it was just, sorry, sir. No, it's so true. It's just like, you know, it's like the plan has succeeded. Like, why do we have, you know, it's like, give me something I don't know. And I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, so there was a lot of really
and the way they just, I'm sorry to interrupt. The way they just gently went through, just like the black jaws, like as if it was nothing. There's black jaws. Oh, we've been able to put sodium into T-shirts. Wait a minute.
Yeah, just put those black jaws. Sodium in T-shirts, and we're going to sell it to the sports. Wait, go back. I love that there's black jaws. I have to because you sit there and you think back to things like Jaws, and it was really a story made with white people in mind. And it's not for me to criticize Jaws being a classic or something, but, you know, white people were attacked. And so it's kind of funny because it really killed me at the end of the episode when it was just, oh, don't worry, that's just Jaws.
That's just white Jaws. Oh.
And I just couldn't stop laughing. Like, the way that the whole episode, you know, turned around to end just made me laugh so much because they kill Black Jaws by Dynamite thrusting the sea as if she was a woman. And then Jaws comes back and kills the one white girl who everyone was attracted to. And then they're not worried. And they go back to Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water, minus Water, who was eaten by the Black Jaws.
Yes. It was very, very, very interesting. But overall, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the episode. It was really fun, and, you know, I mean, just, again, Tricky Dick becomes even more and more evil every time we see him. Black Jaws I like Black Jaws' mythos. That was pretty fun, I think. He's been doing this for centuries.
And Samuel L. Jackson's appearance, as you mentioned, was definitely fun. Because you obviously can pick out the voice right away. And I really did like his character's lines. Him and Fat Thick James. Thick James were written very well for me.
Right. I love, by the way, Samuel L. Jackson as a voice actor. I know they make the joke he's in everything, but I really love him in animated shows. I really enjoy his work in Afro Samurai a lot.
Good reference.
You know,
yeah, that's a good place to look for his good voice acting. He's generally good at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, if you've yet to see him in Afro Samurai, definitely check that out. We might be putting that up on our website possibly later on tonight or tomorrow because, I mean, you know, as merchandise you can purchase through us through Amazon if it isn't up there already, because Afro Samurai and the movie are just really good pieces of work, and again, he does very good work in those, you know, the show and the film.
Yeah, I agree, and more humor here than anything. But it was fun for me to just sit back and just like, why are you a mysterious nigga? Well, I was told the bitches like mysterious niggas, so I became a mysterious nigga. I was like, damn it. And it was fun, and just the whole idea of him being this old crazy captain, just like, I will help you, because I don't give a shit, but I'm an adventurer, motherfucker.
One question I have for you. I was surprised that they were able to show black penises, no matter how tiny and pixelated. How, did you, in the kind of the, what was it, Black Galaga? Yeah, I'm very surprised. I know, I lapsed too, but I'm still surprised that they were able to show that.
I guess it was just the benefit of being tiny pixelated and Adult Swim, because it wasn't like... I
guess so.
So that's how it worked out.
Yeah, because they weren't able to show, Martin Luther King's. Granted,
right.
That was huge.
His giant balls. And, back when we had Ringo Mandingo, we just had a giant censorship block.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good series.
Fun.
I enjoyed the series.
It's fun for me. I do too. Where, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in life that stresses a human being out. And so it's nice for me to sit back and have good TV, because I grew up also being told, TV's mind-numbing and it can't help you and it's not good for you. And in certain ways it totally is true. But there's also a lot to be learned from TV shows, and there's also a lot to laugh at. So, you look at this, and this was classic Black Dynamite episode, this one.
Right.
It's exactly what you expect from the show. And it hits, because if you had the sense of humor this appealed to in the first place, you were going to find this episode funny.
Yeah. Also, another thing that people never thought about, since, of course, our parents always told us this during the 90s, no one ever thought, watch a TV show, make a podcast.
Yeah, it's another thing. I mean, it triggers us to do this talking. And we get to just point out all the stuff that we liked, what we didn't like, and it's fun. And for me, the little things will always hit. Like in this episode, Thick James was really funny for me because of the fact that they made 4 references to his work
James.
on as Rick James, and on the Dave Chappelle show specifically.
Yes,
because I just love, on the Dave Chappelle show, just cocaine is a hell of a drug, and then food is a hell of a drug.
And also, we also have Charlie Murphy on here, who's been on the show for a while as different random characters.
Yeah.
And I love his work as well on the Chappelle show.
Charlie Murphy.
Just being Charlie Murphy.
Yeah. It's just so... I mean, Black Dynamite's also, it's cool to pull in Samuel L. Jackson, because one of the things about the Boondocks that I always thought was amazing, not even just as a credit to the show, but just the people that put it together, was that they were able to get some interesting people in to do voice acting, like Thugnificent's crew. Thugnificent was voiced by Carl Jones, but one of the producers, but you had people flanking him in Busta Rhymes and Snoop Dogg. We had Mos Def, rap. These guys are rappers who were pretty much known at the time, and coming and voicing people. And now you look at this series in Black Dynamite. So we had Samuel L. Jackson today. The episode that aired last night, that you and I will eventually be talking about soon enough.
Yes.
John DiMaggio was on as a voice actor.
Yes, he was. I feel really bad in the way that I know Mos Def, because I'm sitting here and it's just like, Matt, you don't listen to rap. How do you know Mos Def? He was in Def Jam.
That's fine.
That was a really good game.
No,
the
Def
one
Jam,
that I played.
Def Jam Fight for New York still stands as actually one of my favorite fighting games ever.
Yes.
To be honest with you, because wrestling games sometimes leave some stuff to be desired.
Fight for New York was the first or the second one?
Fight for New York was the second one.
So the first one was Def Jam.
Vendetta.
Okay. Because in my head all I heard was Def Jam V for Vendetta. And I was like, that's not right.
You were close. But yeah, Def Jam Vendetta was the first one. And it was a cool concept. And then for me, Fight for New York took it to another level, because you had the actual people come in to act. And then they were in there, like Sean Paul was actually voicing Sean Paul. And for me, growing up, it was really important for me to feel represented. So...
Yes.
Is having the Caribbean rappers in there. But, swinging around to, these guys are not completely averse to doing voice acting, especially when they have, recognizable voices, like Snoop Dogg or Snoop Lion, or whatever he wants to, Snoop Double G, whatever he wants to go by. And he's been on the show, too. So it's kind of an amusing thing for me, where we have this talk about like, should they be giving it to young aspiring voice actors, and I totally get that, but there's also just something to be said about the charm of getting like Samuel L. Jackson to come in and do this role of mysterious nigga. Like,
right. Yes.
It fits in a way.
Well, I'll say this much: you don't know everyone on the show right off the bat. A lot of people
Correct.
you do. But I mean, there are some people that I didn't know right off the bat. I mean, you look at someone even like Michael Jai White, who I enjoy, but
Right.
I didn't know that I enjoy, and until I watched the movie and I was like, I know you. Where do I know you? And I know you from Spawn. I know you in a very limited but fun role in The Dark Knight. But other than that, I haven't really seen him in a lot. Oh, and of course, recently he's been on Arrow. So you haven't really seen him in a lot, but I think that's the thing too, where it's just
Also,
giving it. Yes, you could be.
Brooklynite. He was born and raised in Brooklyn. I'm always partial to the Brooklyn people.
Yeah, hell yeah. My fist was raised in like a hell yeah motion. None of you saw that because this is radio.
No,
but I was very excited.
It's fun, right? Because like I definitely sit there and I'm always kind of smiling when I hear like, oh, someone from New York, huh?
Yeah, right. Just sitting there, just like, hey, one day that is us. I could be Black Dynamite. I cannot be Black Dynamite, but it's.
I don't know if Latin Dynamite would work as well, but I would definitely watch.
I would enjoy Latin Dynamite.
I want to be your accompanying Sweet Throat character.
You can. Hell, you can speak Spanish better than I can. I hate your guts.
I
hate your guts.
That. Like, if I could rhyme in Spanish, I can only do puns in Spanish. Where,
But it's
we can be los Juanes elegidos, the chosen ones. You and I together can be los Juanes elegidos.
I want to point out something very, very fun. I love how Honeybee is trying to get the attention of the males at the beach. However, no matter what, she cannot, because apparently white people learned how to make cornrows. And because of that,
I laugh because it's one of those things where it is definitely think of the time period.
Yeah.
Where it is a bit. It's less common in general, but it's more common than it is now compared to like then. So now it'll be like, all right, that's not as funny as a joke. You think about that going back, it's like when it was thought about like being filmed or quote unquote like when Black Dynamite set, and it's like, yeah, white people were just finding out about cornrows. So this is a big revelation.
Right. And in general, also the idea that many people perpetuate is the idea that just, African American males love white women.
And can't swim.
Right, and can't swim, which I think is another very human thing. I think that's great about this, about this episode. That Black Dynamite.
What's even better is that they cover their own tracks on it.
Yes.
Where Cream Corn was like, wait, you swam last season? He literally said he swam last season. And
he was having it.
Like, I was in the middle of a Nam flashback.
Yeah,
and that was in the Mr. T episode, right?
I believe so, yes. And I think there was just such, and also the fact that when he actually had his flashbacks, which is great, by the way, because it was just, but what about when you're in the hot tub? I can be in water.
Yeah, no, I love that because it's like, water. I don't like to swim. It's like, what happens when you shower? It's like, I'm not afraid of water, you idiot.
Yeah.
I loved that because I'm like, valid point.
Yeah.
You are not afraid of water, Black Dynamite.
Yeah. But anyway, so the idea, it really makes me laugh, the idea that, even in flashbacks, right, when he goes back, he's just, it's just, he does, because it's not even as if it takes away from his powers. He will do superhuman things to avoid going into water.
Oh, I love he bombed the water just to get the guy out, and then there's someone in the background screaming, why does he have to bomb everything? I just laugh because I'm like, he really... See, that's the over-the-topness I appreciate about the series. Just Black Dynamite, can you jump into the water really easily and save me and take me back from this short distance?
Nope.
towards the bomb. I've always avoided it.
And also floods the city.
Yeah, but that's not important because he didn't have to swim.
Pretty much.
The underwater base that's directly under Bazooka.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So that stuff was fun. And also, I hated them for playing the one Earth, Wind, and Fire song I obsessively love.
Yes,
because
pretty much.
That's September, and I really love that song. And I was kind of mad at them because I was like, oh, Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water. And I laughed because I'm like, Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water on water. That's cute. And then they start playing September, and I'm like, how did they pick the only song I know by them? I hate them so much. I felt like I felt like they found me as a minority and, like, read my mind. Just, if we want him to laugh at this episode.
Don't you remember the questionnaire they sent out a couple months back?
You know I don't remember anything past yesterday.
Fair enough. I think I remember it in the mail. I got one, too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That explains it.
But overall,
this episode
was great.
How they knew, I was just wondering how they knew. I mean, it was very impressive. They appealed to me and my humor. And I may have just been in a good mood because I was really happy to have Black Dynamite back. But they knew.
They did?
It was scary. But
fun nonetheless.
Oh, totally. I mean, the show remained, just basing it off these two. I mean, if we are to make we start jumping to conclusions, which is what we do anyway.
Why not? Right.
It seems like the second season's in for another dose of good stuff because
most definitely.
I think the first season ended with the Muppet parody episode, like the Kermit the Frog thing.
Because that was technically the pilot.
Was it really?
I thought it was the pilot. Am I wrong?
I don't know if you're. I don't know if you are. We don't have a fact checker for Black Dynamite stuff, so.
No, I have to go check facts myself. Come on now.
Hurts.
I mean, damn. I'm currently typing it up as we speak.
That is correct.
You know what?
Actually, that is correct. The pilot episode was Trouble on Puppet Street, and it was adapted to become the last episode of that. Before that, the episode before, if it has any relevance, was the big race war one with Eartha Kitt.
That kind of makes sense, I guess, if you wanted to pick that as the
because
finale.
It was a Dr. Wu scheme that he foiled.
Yeah.
So it does kind of make sense.
Yes.
All right. I get that. I was just starting to think about.
Or even if you wanted to cut that out, Honky Kong was also pretty big, I feel.
That was the one before.
Yes, right before it.
I laughed because I saw Honky Kong and it was like, white apes can't hump. And I remembered. I smiled at the season 2 first episode here because it was like 3 different titles. It's like Roots, the White Album, or the blacker the community, the deeper the roots, or those cotton-picking crackers. I was like, I felt bad for laughing because I was like, that is not right.
I think what was great was that they were picking cotton that was clearly put there just for them to pick with combs, not picks, with comb. And then, by the way, apparently Basehead got an amazing real butler. I feel bad pointing this out now. No, because he got a legitimate butler who was already being paid to do this stuff.
Mhm.
So he's just sitting there and it's just like, why am I rubbing my own nipples? And it's just like, that, and then the idea that it was just, it was like, damn, I need to find a way to get Base by myself, and he's not good at stealing, but he is good at actually cooking my heroin. This is a very hard decision to make.
Heroin? Is it heroin? Yeah, it sort of is.
Yeah.
Actually, children, Base is the more pure form of the drug speed, or amphetamine. This is not to be confused with methamphetamine, or meth, or crystal meth, which is a totally different chemical on its own. This is also not to be confused with ecstasy, which is also different than Base, or speed. This has been today's lesson on drugs. The more you know.
Well then.
Don't buy drugs, children.
Yeah, just
become a pop star, and they'll give them to you for free. But
well, we have ourselves a caller. I would like to put him or her through.
After that,
well, it was a bit before that. It was about 3 minutes ago. We had ourselves a caller.
Oh my God!
I would like to put. What's great is that they're listening to this right now. I would like to put this caller through. And good job, Satish. Great job.
Hi, caller.
Let's put them on. Hello, caller.
What's up, man?
Hey, where are you from?
I'm in ATL, man, but I'm not from there, but that's not really important, man. I just want to call and let y'all know. Y'all done convinced me to watch season 2 of this show. I haven't seen anything past season 1, but I've been listening to y'all for the last, 15 minutes? Good work, gentlemen, good work.
Well, what can we do to convince them to watch season 2, Satish?
No, you've already done it. That's what I'm saying. I was calling to congratulate you, young boy.
Oh, man. I did convince you. Oh, well, good. Thank you, caller.
Oh, really appreciate that, because I think you said we didn't convince you. We were about to stand up and say, oh, well, we can try to convince you right now in a few minutes, because we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, hey, man, it is what it is. Hey, and I'm going to tell y'all, Michael Jai White is a real dude, man. I met him down here at the hotel one night. He was walking out. I'm walking in. So, I'm trying to think of something from Black Dynamite just to mess with him or whatever. So I did the little I'm running things, and he stared at me straight face. So I was like, oh, damn. You know what I mean? Dude don't really feel it like that. Then he did that Black Dynamite grin, showed all his teeth, and dapped me up. So much respect to that dude, man.
Definitely. I mean, I enjoy, I haven't seen a lot of his work, but from what I've seen, I mean, he's great at either, comedy or just really making you think that he's going to kick your ass.
oh, definitely. Yeah, that's a big dude, man, so I already knew what it was. I wasn't going to get too far out of line unless I would have to hit him with something, but it's a game, man. But, look, what do y'all do? Y'all review all types of animation, or what do y'all do here?
Oh, yeah. No, if you can check us out on our website, thoseguysonthe.radio.tumblr.com, and we post a lot of our episodes there from Blog Talk Radio, where we review animation, stuff like Dragon Ball Z, Black Dynamite, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, also wrestling, WWE stuff, and, anything else we can find. And what else do we do, Satish?
No, I mean, you pretty much hit on it. It's just we basically will talk about anything that we feel is relevant and fun. And it goes video games, TV shows, and it just helps us get our feelings out there, and in return we get to hear people call in, taking advantage of the live feature like you just did, which is awesome. And it's our way of talking, making use of the internet to get our opinions out there, reaching people that we wouldn't normally be able to reach by just sitting around and talking to a group of friends.
Indeed. Well, I'm going to hang up and listen, but I got one correction for y'all. Please, when you say wrestling, don't say wrestling, say wrestling. As
wrestling,
Rhodes said, that is the correct pronunciation.
Actually, yeah, I can't believe what I was saying about, wrestling. But, definitely since you missed the first half an hour, you can also still check us out, via our Tumblr, thoseguysonthe.radio.tumblr.com. You can see our archived episodes there so that when you get up to this episode, in the future, you can just hear back on what we were talking about. Because overall, it's very fun, these last 2 episodes.
Okay, that's what's up, man. All right, y'all do your thing, man. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Well, thank you very much for calling in and listening.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Callers are good. I enjoy callers.
It was a lot better than I expected after making that whole little speech on drugs where I was like, and someone's going to call in and tell me that I should be off the radio for good. And I would have laughed and been like, you may have a point that I am in.
Internet radio.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess that's the benefit of internet radio where I may be allowed to say words and things. But
yes. No, I was very interested because by accident, I guess, the amazing caller said didn't get us interested, or at least I misheard him.
No, I thought I heard the same thing, where they said that we didn't convince them, and I was like, oh, well, we can try.
I can do it.
Because,
I will.
Yeah, and it's fun. I'm glad that we both enjoyed these episodes, because now we've got, one aired last night, and we'll have, they're more of a consistent schedule than what we're used to with some of our other stuff in terms of, like, Gravity Falls, where we just did an episode and we might have to wait about 2 weeks before the next one comes out.
Right. Yes.
And
With Black Dynamite, we can easily do this either every week or every 2 weeks, just waiting on episodes, because it's hard to sometimes stretch a 30-minute episode into a full-hour show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we knew. I mean, even with it was kind of weird for me, though, because not a Black Dynamite thing, but because we've been doing so many different shows and watching so many different things, and Steven Universe being one of them, it was almost weird for me when the episode didn't end after 15 minutes. Not that Black Dynamite would have done that, but it made me laugh because I sat there and I was like, wow, it didn't end at 15 minutes. There's another whole part of the same story.
Yes.
And it was just a laugh I had to myself. I was like, wow.
And it was definitely able to, expand on, much as we love a show like Steven Universe or, a lot of the other shows that air in this nice little 11-minute kind of, 15-minute span,
right.
It's always nice to have that extra time to develop your story, especially with Black Dynamite. I mean, I cannot wait for another movie. I don't know what it would be on. I don't know if it would be an end to the series, but it would be very nice to see another movie when, they could possibly get to it.
Yeah, I mean, we're wrapping this up now as we come closer to 12:30. But so let me punt that in your way because you just mentioned it. If we got another movie, would you be upset if they ended the Black Dynamite cartoon series with an animated film?
Oh, not at all. I would just wonder how it would work. Where would they try to market that to theaters? I know people would go see it because they're fans, but I'm wondering if they would try to market that to theaters. I mean, I believe the original Black Dynamite film was a limited release.
Yeah, and you look at this TV viewership. I mean, I think for season 1, they were averaging maybe 1.3 to 1.5 million viewers for every episode. And, that's not even considering the people who find other means to download it that are not able to be recorded on those numbers or something like that. So if you want to say maybe they're pulling in about 1.5 million viewers per episode, I mean, how many people can you get out of that to go see the movie? And then how many people on top of that number can you get to go watch it just because of the fact, someone like me, I watch films like the Machete series. You and I talk movies. So, I'd go laugh and stuff. And there's some people who don't watch the Black Dynamite animated show or haven't been told about it, but would probably go see that movie for the laughs. So
I think a lot of people would go see it.
It could
because
definitely
here's
work.
Why.
I would
here's
definitely back that.
Looking at the viewers, right? You see 1.69 million for the first episode, and then strangely, the second episode actually jumped up to 1.89, right? So the lowest out of the entire series was 1.423, which was Honky Kong, right? That is the lowest that we've seen, 1.423, because we don't know season 2's ratings just yet, right? So that's the lowest you saw in season 1, where the highest was that 1.89. So you're looking at these ratings, and it's a bit different than something like WWE, where WWE, you get 4 million people watching, but they really are solely based in, children that don't have really the power to, let's say, go to a movie or buy a pay-per-view or something like that, right?
Or buy their network in wrestling's case.
In wrestling's case, yes. So in this case, it is, 1.89 dedicated fans, 1.69 dedicated fans. And even if they're downloading on the internet, that could be for simple convenience because there are currently a lot of ways to get something without watching it live, like TiVoing it, or even going on something, let's say, on Amazon Prime.
Or just
things
general
like
on-demand through your cable service. For me, I managed to catch them both on Verizon's on-demand service, which is actually pretty goddamn updated and quick.
Yes, thank you. That as well. I have that as well, and I completely forget. That's something, too. People completely forget or they just don't really utilize those. So even people who may have just downloaded it illegally out of preference, something like the Avengers, right? And I know Avengers goes for a very large scope of people, but still, something like the Avengers, it made money by the people wanting to go see it, but it made more money by the people wanting to see it again. And I think something like a Black Dynamite movie now in its career, at the point where it is right now, people would go see it twice, if not three.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say that, but I do think that it would be a success in the theaters. I will give you that much, and I agree with you on that point.
Yeah, let me clarify. I'm not saying it would get Avengers level success, but what I am saying is, like something like the Avengers, there are hardcore fans that enjoy it, and it will be funny enough that will at least, even if you're saying, oh, it'll be a cult classic, still, back in the day, it was, things were cult classics because even if people went to see them over and over and over again, there were still very little. Where now I would argue that, something like this with the with the internet and things like that and social media, we're able to do a show on Black Dynamite, right? Tell people that we're doing a show on Black Dynamite and really spread the word to the point that we can get people who may not even know that we're fans or that other fans exist right here watching, listening to us talk about Black Dynamite. And being able to go back and watch it right after we talked about it to go, you know what, let me see what if I agree with those guys or if I disagree with those guys, or just I want to see more of, what I saw, let's say, last week or the week before, since this the first episode aired about 2-3 weeks ago. So with that, I feel as if it could be very successful in a way where, let's say, if this was released in the 70s, it may not have been successful.
Yeah, you definitely look at the virtue of having the internet, and it's a
right.
big thing for something like Black Dynamite, where it's a big thing for what I would say things like Black Dynamite, which cater to a specific sect of a cult fandom, and things that are like social justicey. Like if you have a documentary on racism or something, word of that spreads really quickly. Like in a flash. So something like this as well, on the flip side, depending on what direction they decide to go on with the movie, it could become a hit very quickly for whatever direction they do, whether it be plot or just the fact that it is a ridiculous type of blaxploitation film that, returns. Because Black Dynamite, the original movie, is still watched by people and they still laugh it off. And, I mean, there's stuff like Undercover Brother in the early 2000s that was also done that way for humor and was a success. So,
right.
I don't see any. I still think the idea of seeing it twice in this day and age, to me, is weird because I can barely afford one movie. So going to pay to see it twice.
I understand.
So that's why I say for me it's weird based on what I know. That it's weird to talk about seeing a movie twice because I have seen movies multiple times, but going to a theater to see something I've already seen.
We know of discount theaters.
Yeah, discount theater is one thing, and another thing is also like for me waiting for people to like when it comes out in Blu-ray or something to wait to catch it with some people who haven't seen it. So we'll sit down and watch it in the comfort of my own home or their home. But again, DVD sales is good. That's good for the whole movie. So I do think that the movie, like if they were to top it off with an animated film, it would be fun. That's a nice thought to end it on, I would say.
Also, now that we're done with our show, we would like to thank you guys for listening to those guys. And quickly, we would like to mention that, of course, our website, thoseguysontheradio.tumblr.com, as we mentioned before, we can get a lot of things on there. Also, our Facebook /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio that we also post our shows on. Our Twitter, Those Guys Radio, and currently our name on Twitter is Professor Oak. Why is that so? Because we just had a Pokemon contest for the month of October for free shiny Pokemon, free battle ready shiny Pokemon, Halloween themed. Now the issue with that is that on Facebook, one of our posts went bye-bye. We don't know how this happened. We made a new one to counteract that, and we asked any of you who entered through Facebook, who liked our page, and who shared that post to like the new one or share the new one. You did not do that. We currently have no one entered on Facebook because of that reason. What does that mean? If you're listening to this, or you know someone who you're listening to this and you know someone who liked our Facebook and who shared the post solely for entering the Shiny Pokemon contest,
you have a head
please
start.
Get them to do that.
Yeah, you have a head start if you're listening to us right now.
Yes, but, and again, someone, please tell them, get on it, because right now we have 0 winners for Facebook, and if by Sunday no one enters, we'll be giving one of those Pokemon to a random selected winner on Tumblr and another one to Twitter. So please.
Yeah, so you have 1 week to try and figure you have a very easy way to win here because considering our Facebook readership and likeship, not that much.
Yes.
So if you're out there listening and you want one of our spooky Pokemon that are shiny and competitively ready for battle.
Or you know someone who tried to get it, tell them.
Go for it.
Help them.
Remember, you have to like our page and share the post. Like our page and share the post. Very important. Or else I can't consider you an official entry.
Yeah, so thank you guys for listening to those guys. I'm going to play Afro Gunso, and I think we're in the archives right now. So, hello everyone in the archives. I'll be slower. I'm going to play Afro Gunso.
Just play us out.
Sergeant Frog, the hit manga, Afro Gunso.
Play the goddamn song.
Aí cata bawa, Afro Gunso.